All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we actually have a phenomenal individual. We have Daneja Mentale right here, live on the line. How are you doing this evening?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Doing best I can possibly be down here in Canada, man. Just, our summer just ended, so now we're getting that fall weather, man, and I'm telling you, I am not used to it.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it to get a little cooler now.
I definitely hear you on that, man. It's weird. I noticed once once school gets back into things, even though I'm an adult and I'm not in school, I've always noticed the moment school hits, summer's gone, no matter what. It's almost like when those kids go back, they just ruin summer for everybody. Like when the Mother Nature's like, nope, no more hot weather.
Yeah, done deal.
But Dange, I know you're a busy guy, man, so I'm going to dive right into this interview, man. But I want to take you back to the beginning of your amazing career this far, and I have to ask, man, what originally made you decide to venture into the music industry initially, man? Because you're such a phenomenal producer.
I've been, dipping and dabbling into music ever since I was a kid. When I first started, it was just writing poems, and I eventually gravitated to making rap songs from the age of 12. Inspired by Public Enemy, Ice-T, NWA, groups like that.
Actually, with these songs that you actually wrote when you were like 12, did you ever actually take the words off the paper and actually record them, or was that just something you left on the paper?
Oh man, a lot of that was on paper. Thank God. A lot of that was horrible.
But hey, you know what? At the end of the day, even if you did and it came out, man, at the end of the day, you were 12, right? You know what I mean? You can't come out the box, like being able to write like Nas,
No, no. I look back at a lot of the stuff I wrote when I was a kid, and I just cringed. I'm like, what was I thinking, man?
But also as well, man, speaking of back in the day, in the year 1992, you actually established a Soul Mafia enterprise, also known as the Real Soul Mafia family. I was wondering, what originally made you decide to launch this company in the early 90s, and of course, what services do you offer today in the year 2022?
But when I started Soul Mafia, I was actually in high school, and it wasn't an acronym in the beginning, but now it stands for Society of Universal Lyricists, Musicians, and Filmmakers in Association. So not only am I dealing with the music, I'm also dealing with photography, trying to go into film, still learning that, but mostly the music and the photography.
And I gotta say as well, I actually saw some of your most recent photography as well about that building that actually got torn down, man. I have to say that was definitely a sad thing to look at, but also you did very well at those photographs as well.
I appreciate that, man. Still trying to learn the curve, I still got a lot to learn, but it's just, just a passion of mine that I have outside of doing music.
And I have to ask as well, because of course, as you already know, we got a lot of artists coming through the radio station airwaves. They listen as well. So if they are in your area, man, and actually want to set up a photo shoot, or maybe even do a photo shoot for their next album or something like that, how do they actually get a hold of you? And of course, purchase, just a photo shoot with you.
It's basically in the area. There's so many different photographers around, so I'm pretty much a little speck. So I'm still trying to gain a little momentum, gain some ground to get my clientele growing. But what I've been doing is, when I first started doing it was just something like therapy for me. I would just go out there and just take pictures of inanimate objects and skylines, whatever. But then a couple of people hit me up and they wanted me to do some photo shoots, and they came out pretty good, but I'm still, like I said, I'm still learning everything, still trying to grow everything. But as far as the album covers, I've always done my own album covers. I never went to anybody else, even though it was just me taking pictures from a disposable camera, or I would get a digital camera and do everything from there, and just upload it to my computer and just deal with the software and just make my own material.
And also, as well, in the year 2012, you actually released a song via SoundCloud titled "The Shit" that's actually featuring the DOC, MC Ran, Ice Cube, Exhibit, and others. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story behind this song, and of course, how did you actually get all these guys together to actually make such a phenomenal song?
Actually, that was a remix idea. I had the CD single of that song, and I was just playing around with some sounds I had at the time, and I actually have a remix tape with that song featured on it, and it was just something I did to try to promote my production. As a matter of fact, I did recently send that track to DJ Christy Love Taylor. I'm not sure if he listened to it or if he let DOC hear it, but it was just something I was doing, and people started to download the track. But I'm surprised it's still on SoundCloud due to a lot of songs being taken down due to copyright infringement or whatever.
And I gotta say as well, it definitely was just the right amount of blend. That song was phenomenal in my honest opinion, and you made it sound like those individuals were actually like right in the studio with you collaborating, man. So when I heard that, I was like, oh damn, this is fire.
I appreciate that, man. I wish I could. I mean, I wish I could meet with those guys, and and see if I could actually do some work for them, exclusively. And that would be dope.
And I do want to let the listeners know if they haven't actually heard this song and you do go check it out via SoundCloud, you might want to get yourself a fire extinguisher and put it beside your stereo before you hit play, because I'm telling you, this song is a speaker melter.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, well, there's quite a few other remixes I've done. I did a remix of Jay-Z's "Moment of Clarity" and the public service announcement, which is one of my favorite ones. But I ended up using that same beat later on for a track of my own, which is called World Premiere, featuring Legacy of the Justice League, Boogie Bam, Cosmo, a.k.a. York Hessner, a rapper named Brown. So we did this track like back in 2009. And this was the first time I ever got a feature from an artist outside of my own crew, and especially from a crew that's world renowned as the Justice League, with Little Brother, Ninth Wonder, Sean Don, a.k.a. Phineas, Saint Omer, and a few others.
And also, as well, you are actually the CEO of Deaf for Life Records. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a story behind this other company you actually launched. And of course, what actually originally made you decide to just shed some light on this amazing company?
I started Deaf for Life around 94. Originally, it was called Down for Life, and it was founded with another friend of mine by the name of Gabriel Harlan. And later on in the years, after collaborating together, we went separate ways. He started doing his own thing, more into rock and pop music, and I just kept on with the hip hop and the bass music. So I ended up changing it to Deaf for Life. Didn't really want to try to, go with the trends of other labels like Death Row or Def Jam or So Def. It was just something just out of the blue, and plus I like skulls, so that was another thing that I added to the logo itself. And from that year up to now, we have so many different artists that I've worked with. Like I said, a rapper named Brown, Kaji and Stereo, Explicit Content, and then I have my side projects, which are Electric Lights and Quad Control Station, which is more like my electronica project.
And also, as well, on January 19th of 2019, you actually released the album titled Mr. Mentale Volume 1, that is actually a collection of unused tracks and mixes. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story behind this record, and of course, what actually made you decide to just release an album compiled of all these unreleased mixes?
Around 2018, when I released a double CD entitled "Me and My Music," the album, and that was set to be the final solo project I was going to work on. But I had a lot of songs that never made the track listing of albums on after that one and many others prior to it. So I had a lot of acapellas, remixes, verses I've done on other albums that were unused. So I was bored and decided to just start with the first one and then the first one into the second one. And right now I'm up to volume 5. So I might have a few more unreleased tracks and remixes. I might come up with a volume 6, but we'll see. So it was just something to really just keep my production out there, to keep the music going, because I got to the point where I was just going to stop doing solo hip-hop albums and just focus on production for other people and focus on the electronic music.
And I have to ask, is that still something you're actually wanting to do, is like, take your focus away from hip-hop, or have you changed your mind since you actually first thought of that?
Actually, it's just an expansion with the electronic music. It's just an expansion. When I first started doing that, a lot of people didn't know it was me, and I kept it a secret for like about 20 years, up until a friend of mine from Moscow had put it on his hip-hop website, and people put 2 and 2 together and realized that it was me. But at the time when I first kept it as a secret, I did it because if people knew that I was local doing this music, it wasn't going to go anywhere. And that's how I felt about it. So for a long time, I just kept from putting my name out on it like that. So later on, when it was announced on the internet, it was a whole different experience, and people actually gravitated towards it instead of pushing away from it. So that helped me out a whole lot. So now I get more physical sales than I did in the beginning.
And I gotta say as well, like, Volume 1 is definitely a phenomenal project, man. So I really do hope that you actually compile a Volume 2, man. I really think the listeners will definitely enjoy a Volume 2 in the future, of course.
Actually, there is a Volume 2. Actually, Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are available. They're on my Bandcamp page, Bandcamp/Daneja Mentale. So you can actually get them on there, and I have a few limited CDs, physical CDs for those who want the actual CD. But they are out there.
And of course, as well, man, just a few years later, on December 24th of 2021, you actually released another phenomenal album, the 15-track album titled Bass Expo 2021, The Saga Continues. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about this most recently released project. And of course, where can we actually buy or stream ourselves a copy of it today?
Okay, with this album, I was actually continuing from 2 other albums I did in the past, called Bass Expo 2001. Then I had Volume 3, which I didn't name it as Bass Expo, but it still is with that series. When I did the Bass Expo 2006, that was another one. And then just out of the blue, I decided to come up with another Bass Expo. So these are just a lot of the electronica albums I've been doing, because at the time when I first started doing these CDs, it was just something to play in the car for people who had the big sound systems. And when I found out that people overseas and in the States were actually downloading these albums, because actually I had put them up for free because I didn't think they were going to sell. But when they started to, I started to look at the downloads, I'm like, man, I lost out on a lot of money. So I actually decided to go back and repackage them as actual CDs. And just like with the Daneja Mentale albums, you can actually buy those on Bandcamp as well.
And I gotta ask as well, do you still have the hard copy CDs available? And if so, are they available on Bandcamp, or do they have to contact you directly?
They have to contact me directly on Facebook, the Daneja Mentale. I haven't really had the chance to put the site up on Bandcamp, so I'm still kind of working on that. But they can get them from me directly. And when they do get them from me directly, I send a little extra to them, give them a little bit more for what they pay for.
And I have to ask as well, man, what is next for yourself? Is there anything we happen to miss during tonight's broadcast? Anything else you do still want to touch base on and talk about? What was it got you here live on the Canadian FM dial this evening?
I have a few projects that I'm working on. I'm working with this rapper named Lu Chin Chin. We have a collaborative project. I have another rapper that I'm working with that's from the West Coast. He goes by the name Rap Poetic Prophet, and we have a collaborative project. And I have one for myself that I'm trying to work on. I don't have a full title for it yet. The working title was actually Bad Joby, like the my little alter ego on Facebook. I'm just basically clowning, but the music is straight serious. It's straight to the point. It's street, not too laid back. Just want to get it back to the street element. And I had another album that I was going to do, but I'm kind of trying to see if I can come up with the material that'll work for it, which is a companion piece for an album I dropped in 2010, the Common Ground Experience, which the second part of it will be called the Common Ground Experiment, and the album covers are kind of similar. So I'm still working on that, but as far as this next project, the Bad Joby project, that is what I'm most definitely focused on, and the two other projects that I mentioned earlier.
And also, as well, this is the time in the interview quickly that I give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves, just a chance to give, shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, but most of all, man, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything you got going on, past, present, and, of course, future.
Okay. I would like to give a shout-out to my parents, JB and Denise Phillips. Because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing. I mean, they pretty much gave me the music that inspired me. Want to say thanks to DJ Doc, Krista Glove Taylor, for always correcting me every time I get my music information wrong. Wow, it's so many people that have influenced me to do what I do. Jazz from HWA, I want to give a shout out to her because she's been real cool from day one. My whole Soul Mafia family, Kaji, rapper named Brown, Lu Chin Chin, Ralph, Poetic Prophet. The list goes on, man.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, man, thank you so much, man, for just, giving us a bit of your time here this evening and sliding into the 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM airways, man. It definitely was an honor and most definitely a privilege to be able to chop it up with you this evening, man. Hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon.
Yes, sir. Man, I appreciate you for having me, man. It's a blessing, man.
Hey, man, it's definitely a blessing and honor to be able to chop it up with you live tonight on the FM dial, man. But for now, definitely have yourself a phenomenal night, man. But I'm pretty sure we definitely shall talk again soon.
All right, man. Appreciate that.
Appreciate that as well, man. Definitely have yourself a great night.
All right, peace.